There was a lot of mantle passing in the closing moments of Endgame, much of it in a heartwarming fashion. Old man Cap passing his shield onto Falcon? It doesn't get much better than that. We've got a more grown-up Cassie Lang in the picture, and Clint hit a bullseye with his daughter. But what about Iron Man? Who's set to replace him? The obvious choice is, of course, little Morgan Stark. Her father even died in a battle with an intergalactic wacko. Stuff that in a box and label it origin story. But if that's the timeline the MCU is taking, it raises the question, when is the next time we'll see a version of Iron Man on the big screen? Morgan's, 4 years old? Less than 5 for sure, because of the snappings. By the time she's old enough to strap on some nanites, the rest of the Avengers will be hanging up their own suits. Infinity War's big thing was unquestionably the snap. Thanos foreshadowed it, then the final battle came and he upheld his promise, turning half the universe into dust with a snap of his fingers. Cinematically, it's great. It's one instantly identifiable gesture of annihilation that also says, look how easy it is to clean up the universe. From a comics perspective, it holds up well, since that's what Thanos did in Infinity Gauntlet. So then Endgame comes along, and the only way to make the stones work is now snapping. Is that in the Infinity Manual? When Professor Hulk put on the glove the first time, he was clearly picturing what he wanted to happen, since he says he also tried to bring back Natasha. And in the final battle, both Tony and Thanos try snapping. The movie never answers the question of whether there are other ways to use all the stones. After all, if they're powerful enough to bring back trillions of life forms with all their memories and costumes intact, wouldn't just wishing be enough without the snap? Let's face it, any movie dealing with time travel is going to run into problems. For its part, though, Endgame did wrap up a lot of loose timelines, explain most of what needed explaining, and keep the plot moving. Out of all the time travel shenanigans, one question that was almost definitely intentionally left unanswered was the 2012 Loki's whereabouts. If you remember, while in the past after the Battle of New York, Stark fumbled the Tesseract, and Loki snagged it while no one was looking and slipped away into a portal. By doing so, he presumably created a different timeline that didn't end up with that version of himself being choked by Thanos. So now there's a rogue Loki roaming around another timeline, but the movie leaves that guy's fate completely unmentioned. What kind of mischief is he getting up to with the ability to travel anywhere in the universe?
I'm sorry about that thing with the Tesseract. I just couldn't help myself.
When Peter Parker comes back during that epic final battle, he tells Tony that he must have passed out, because when he woke up back on Titan, Stark was gone. The implication there is that time didn't pass for the people who were dusted. 5 years went by in the real world, but all the dust bunnies came back just thinking they'd taken a quick nap. It goes by pretty smoothly, mainly because there's so much other stuff happening then. But during the wrap-up scenes, when we see Peter back in school reuniting with Ned, you start to wonder, how is society going to reconcile what happened? It's convenient that all of Peter's friends were apparently also dusted, so now they get to finish going through high school together. But what about the rest of the world? Most of these people essentially blinked, and Citi Field suddenly looks like the apocalypse. Little Susie's in college. Grandpa Joe's kidneys failed. He's dead. Picture that, but multiplied by billions. The world is going to have a whole heck of a lot of work to do fixing things up, and Endgame didn't touch on that question at all.